close your eyes for a second. Imagine you are floating in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, thousands of miles from the nearest Starbucks or Wi-Fi signal. It is midnight. The water is a chilling 34 degrees. Now imagine someone ties a lead weight to your ankles and pushes you over the side. At first, it is just cold, but as you sink, something happens. The light from the surface, that warm, comforting glow of the moon, starts to fade. 10 feet, 50 feet, 100 feet. By the time you hit 200 feet, you are in the sunlight zone, but it does not feel very sunny. The blue is turning into a bruised purple. Now imagine you are still sinking. You pass 600 feet. The Twilight Zone begins. This is where the real fun starts. The pressure is starting to mount. It feels like someone is wrapping a heavy blanket tighter and tighter around your chest. Your lungs are screaming, but there is no air to be had. But here's the kicker. You are not alone. Down here in the crushing pitch-black silence, things are watching you. Things that have not seen a ray of sunlight in a million years. Things that look like they were designed by a horror movie director who had a very, very bad day. We are talking about creatures with teeth so long they cannot even close their mouths. We are talking about sharks that look like ancient rotting carpets with 300 needles for teeth. If that image alone has you checking for monsters under your bed, do me a solid and drag that like button down to the abyss and subscribe for more deep dives into the terrifying unknown. It is free, and unlike the creatures we are about to meet, it will not try to eat you. Welcome to the deep sea, the last true frontier on Earth. A place where the pressure is enough to turn a human being into a literal pancake in seconds. Yet somehow, life does not just exist here, it thrives. Today, we are diving into the abyss to meet the real-life monsters that call the crushing depths home. We are going past the point of no return, into the midnight zone and beyond, to see the creatures that will make you never want to dip your toe in the ocean again. Before we get to the really scary stuff, let us talk about the budget nature had when designing these things. Imagine you are an evolutionary designer, right? You have zero light, freezing temperatures, and enough pressure to crush a titanium hull. You do not have time for cute. You do not have time for symmetric. You only have time for I need to eat that thing before it eats me. The ocean covers 70% of our planet, but we've only explored about 5% of it. That means 95% of the deep sea is basically a do not enter sign for humanity. And for good reason. Every time we send a drone down there, we find something new that looks like it crawled out of a Lovecraftian nightmare. So grab your oxygen tank, check your pressure seals, and for the love of everything holy, don't look behind you, because we're going down. Deep. The Twilight Zone, or the Mesopelagic Zone, is the gateway to the abyss. It's where the last faint rays of sunlight struggle to reach, creating a ghostly, dim environment. It's also home to some of the most metal creatures on the planet. Take the frilled shark, for example. If you saw this thing swimming toward you, you'd probably think you'd accidentally traveled back 80 million years. It's often called a living fossil because it hasn't changed much since the dinosaurs were around. It looks like a giant slimy eel, but with the cold, dead eyes of a shark. But it's the mouth that really gets you. The frilled shark has about 300 trident-shaped teeth arranged in 25 rows. If you get caught in those jaws, there is no letting go. It's like a one-way ticket to the digestive tract, and the way it hunts, it lunges like a snake striking out of the darkness. Imagine being a small fish, minding your own business, and suddenly a 6-foot-long prehistoric carpet with a mouthful of needles appears out of the gloom. Yeah, no thanks. Speaking of protruding jaws, let's talk about the goblin shark. This creature is the definition of ugly cute, except without the cute part. It has a long, shovel-like snout that looks like it belongs on a medieval torture device. But the real horror is its jaw. When the goblin shark finds prey, its entire jaw snaps forward out of its head, like a xenomorph from the Alien movies. It literally launches its mouth at you. Imagine you are at a dinner party, and instead of reaching for the breadsticks, your entire lower face just rockets across the table to grab them. That is the goblin shark's life. It is efficient, it is terrifying, and it is why I stay in the shallow end of the pool. Now, let us go even deeper. We are passing 3,000 feet. The light is gone. Completely. This is the bathypelagic zone, also known as the midnight zone. It is a world of eternal darkness, where the temperature is barely above freezing, and the pressure is starting to feel like a herd of elephants is taking a nap on your head. In the midnight zone, if you want to eat, you have to be creative. And by creative, I mean terrifying. Let us talk about the Fangtooth fish. This guy looks like he just got back from a heavy metal concert that went horribly wrong. He is only about 6 inches long, but he has the largest teeth of any fish in the ocean relative to his body size. In fact, his teeth are so long that he has special sockets in his brain. Yes, his brain, just so he can close his mouth. Imagine having teeth so long they poke into your own skull. That is a level of commitment to the scary look that I cannot help but respect. But here's the thing. The Fangtooth is not just for show. He is a relentless predator. In a world where food is scarce, you cannot afford to let a meal get away. Those teeth are like a biological prison. Once you are in, you are not getting out. But if the Fangtooth is the heavy metal fan of the deep, the Viperfish is the lead singer, specifically Sloane's Viperfish. This thing looks like a needle with eyes. It has a long dorsal fin that ends in a glowing light, a lure. It hangs out in the dark, waving that little light around like a free tacos sign. When a curious little fish swims over to check it out, snap. The Viperfish has teeth so long they curve back toward its eyes. It literally impales its prey. And get this, it can unhinge its jaw and swallow fish that are almost as big as it is. It is like eating a whole Thanksgiving turkey in one bite without chewing. And now, we come to the most famous monster of them all, the Anglerfish. You have probably seen this guy in Finding Nemo, but the real thing is way more nightmare-inducing. There are over 200 species of anglerfish, and most of them look like they were carved out of a rotting potato. The female anglerfish is the one with the famous glowing lure on her head. It is filled with bioluminescent bacteria that she uses to trick prey into coming close. But the really weird part is the mating process. See, the male anglerfish is tiny, way smaller than the female, and his only goal in life is to find a female. When he does not ask her out on a date. He does not even say hi. He just bites her, and he does not let go. Ever. Over time, his body literally fuses with hers. His skin joins her skin. His blood vessels join her blood vessels, and eventually he loses all his internal organs until he is basically just a permanent sperm-donating attachment on her side. It sounds like a horror movie, but in the deep sea, it is a brilliant survival strategy. Finding a mate in the pitch-black abyss is like finding a needle in a haystack if the haystack were the size of the entire planet and the needle were invisible. By fusing together, they ensure that they are always ready to reproduce. It is until death do us part taken to a whole new creepy level. We're going deeper now. We're entering the abyssal zone. This is where the pressure hits about 8,000 pounds per square inch. For those of you playing at home, that's like having a school bus parked on your big toe. Down here, the creatures have to be even more specialized. Meet the black swallower. This fish is only about 10 inches long, but it has a stomach that can stretch like a balloon. It can swallow prey that is twice its length and 10 times its mass. Imagine you are a 150-pound person, and you decide to eat a 1,500-pound cow in one sitting without cutting it up. That is the black swallower's Tuesday. The problem is, sometimes they get a bit too ambitious. They will swallow something so big that it starts to decompose before they can digest it. The gases from the rotting fish inside them will actually make the black swallower float up to the surface like a morbid, overfilled balloon. And then there is the Gulper eel, also known as the pelican eel. This creature is basically just a giant mouth with a tiny body attached to it. It has a jaw that can open wide enough to swallow things much larger than itself, and its stomach can expand to accommodate the meal. It is like a living, swimming trash bag. But it is not just about the mouth. The Gulper eel has a long, whip-like tail that ends in a glowing organ. It uses this light to lure prey into its massive maw. It is the ultimate bait and switch. You think you are going for a midnight snack, and instead, you are the midnight snack. We have seen the teeth, we have seen the stomachs, but now we are getting into the truly weird. This is where the deep sea stops looking like a horror movie and starts looking like a science fiction flick. First up, the Bigfin squid. If you have not seen the footage of this creature, you are in for a treat, and by treat I mean lifelong nightmares. This squid has tentacles that can be up to 26 feet long, but it is not just the length, it is the way it holds them. The Bigfin squid has elbows. It holds its long, spindly arms at right angles to its body, like it is a giant underwater marionette. It looks like it is just waiting. For what? We do not really know. We have only seen a few of them on camera, but seeing those long, thin strands trailing into the darkness is enough to make you want to stay on dry land forever. Then there is the Barreleye fish. This creature is a literal glass head. Its head is transparent, and its eyes are inside its skull, but they are not where you would expect them to be. Those two little green balls in its forehead are its eyes. They are tubular, and they point straight up so it can see the silhouettes of prey swimming above. The two things on its face that look like eyes are actually its nostrils, called nares. It is like it is wearing a clear helmet and looking through its own brain. Imagine being so dedicated to seeing what is above you that you evolved a transparent skull. That is some next-level biological engineering. We cannot talk about the deep sea without mentioning the vampire squid. Its scientific name is Vampiroteuthis infernalis, which literally translates to vampire squid from hell. But despite the name, it is not a vampire, and it is not even a true squid. It is in a class all its own. It has a dark reddish-black body and a webbing that looks like a cloak. When it feels threatened, it does not ink like a regular squid. Instead, it turns itself inside out, revealing rows of serry, spiky-looking protrusions that look like teeth but are actually harmless. It is like a biological scary face mask. But the coolest part is this. It does not hunt live prey. It eats marine snow, bits of dead animals, poop, and other organic matter that drift down from the surface. So, despite the name that references hell, it is basically just the ocean's most dramatic janitor. Finally, we've reached the bottom, the Hadal zone. Named after Hades, the Greek god of the underworld, this is the deepest part of the ocean, the trenches. The Mariana Trench is the most famous, and at its deepest point, Challenger Deep, it is about 7 miles down. The pressure here is over 16,000 pounds per square inch. The pressure is like having an elephant stand on your thumb, multiplied by about 1,000. So, how does anything survive? Now we meet the Mariana Hadal snailfish. It does not look like a monster. In fact, it looks like a piece of raw chicken breast. It is translucent, it has no scales, and its bones are made of cartilage. But it is the toughest creature on the planet. It survives the pressure because its body is filled with a special fluid that does not compress. It does not have air pockets like we do. If you took a snailfish and brought it to the surface, it would literally melt. It needs the pressure to stay together. Down here, life is slow. It is quiet. It is a world that does not care about us. It is a world that has been doing its own thing for billions of years, undisturbed by the chaos of the surface. The deep sea is a reminder of how little we actually know about our own planet. We have sent people to the moon. We have sent rovers to Mars, but we have only just begun to scratch the surface of the abyss. Every time we go down there, we find something that defies our understanding of biology. We find monsters that are beautiful, terrifying, and absolutely necessary for the health of our planet. So the next time you are at the beach and you look out at the horizon, just remember, underneath that calm blue surface, there is a world of darkness, pressure, and creatures that would make a horror movie monster look like a puppy. And that is our tour of the planet's most exclusive and terrifying neighborhood. Thanks for sticking with us through the crushing darkness. Now I have to know, which one of these nightmares is going to be haunting your dreams tonight? Was it the brain-socketed Fangtooth, the face-launching Goblin shark, or maybe the perpetually attached Anglerfish male? Drop a comment below and let me know which creature you'd least want to meet on a dark night. And hey, if you enjoyed not being eaten by a Viperfish today, show some love, hit that like button, stay curious, and maybe sleep with a nightlight on tonight.